Spencer Hulse, the author of my story, was a sick and twisted little man. In the period of time between the years 1960 and 1970, he spread tales of death, mayhem, and destruction, and of the occasional Siamese cat story, through words spoken of a slightly forked but silvered tongue. He died on November 23rd, 2001, the age of 75. In his honor of this creepiest of holidays, I give you the Monroe Street Monster. Once upon a time, a monster moved into 91 Monroe Street. That's a tenement block full of Puerto Ricans, Italians, Jews, and Negroes, Irish, and some Chinese, many first-generation immigrants, a lot of artists and bohemians. All of these people wear costumes. But this monster was very strange looking. He was short and ugly and had bright carrot red hair and was 40 years old. He wore a long green cape which completely covered him, dragged along the ground a little bit when he walked, so you couldn't see his legs. This did make him strange looking, but the thing which made people call him a monster was the peculiar way he walked, or rather, moved. Because he didn't walk like ordinary people do. He sort of glided. It was as if someone was pushing him on roller skates, or he was riding a one-wheeled bicycle. And some said he really sat cross-legged in the middle of the air, floating. Some thought he was an angel, others a devil, but everyone, old ladies, young gangsters, and children alike, felt the same fear when they saw him coming, gliding. People would rush inside to watch him from doorways and through windows, peeking at him from behind curtains as he glided grimly down the vacated street. It went on for about 2 weeks. He had very regular hours. He went out early in the morning and returned early in the evening, and nobody ever knew where he went or what he did when he got into his apartment. One evening, as he turned down the block, and as the block emptied, a bum fell out of the bar at the corner. The bum began to stagger up the street towards the monster, and he was so drunk, swearing and lurching and talking to himself, that he didn't notice the silence, or the emptiness, or the green-caped redhead moving quickly toward him. But all of Monroe Street was watching. They met. The bum looked, and as he saw the monster, and reached into his pocket and brought out a cigarette, it was broken, and said, "Say, buddy, you got a light?" The monster filled around underneath his cape and brought out a match and lit the bum's cigarette. It was at this point that the bum, who was so drunk, collapsed, and falling, fell on top of the monster, knocking him into the middle of the street, and in the process, grabbed onto the monster's cape and pulled it off. The monster was completely exposed. Then, the people rushed out and they formed a big circle around the monster, just stared. Then someone else said in a sort of disappointed voice, it's only got 3 legs." Then another person said, "Yeah, he's no devil, he's no angel, he's just got 3 legs. That's why he walks like that." Then they began to get angry with him, shouting at him belligerently for frightening them, and there were tears rolling down his cheeks as he tried to tell them they didn't really mean to frighten them. It was just that he was ashamed of his deformity, and that's why he wore the long cape. Finally, a guy stepped out of the crowd and helped the monster to his feet and said, "Say, buddy, what you need is a drink." So the monster, cape over his arm, glided down to the bar at the corner, and a crowd of men followed him in. His hands were shaking as he took his drink, so the other men pretended not to notice. One of them said, "You think the Yankees will win tomorrow?" Another said, "Well, I got $2 they will." The monster, pointing a steady finger at the man, shouting, "I'll take that bet." Because, you see, he was a Dodger fan. That's really the end of the story. But I can't help but noticing that the monster and the people have completely forgotten the bum. As they sit drinking and talking about baseball, the bum is unconscious in the gutter, and he'll never even know this great deed he has committed. Kids are careful not to step on his body as they run back and forth chasing each other, but that's about the only attention that he gets. But, as the author, I have a certain power. So I would like to express that gratitude of which my characters have failed to show. Because, you see, this bum is going to die in a couple of months anyway, of tuberculosis. But I'm going to have him picked up in an alcoholic charge and they'll take him to Bellevue. They'll discover his TB and then they'll send him to a state sanitarium to die. But they'll take care of him.